nothing to me. So what else was there? Play. And so I was sort of like Brazil, you know? La 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 la. You know, I love, that was it. And school went along with it. I went to school, and then I waited till that was over, and then I played. I moved on up in age with this theory of play. After school, play. By the way, because of my brother Russell, I began to understand the environment. Because when Russell was 2, I remember my mother saying that she had to go to work. She said, now I want you to watch. I was 2 years old, which meant I had to stay in the house. I couldn't go out and play. So I said, okay, Mom. My mother went out. Well, I had to play because we had a game out on the ball field in the projects. So trying to figure out how to get Russell to stay in the house to go play. So I said to Russell, I said, Russ, you're going to be a man someday. He was so proud when I said that. He had on short pants, you know, and little high-top white shoes with white stockings. He said, I hope so. I said, yeah. And I said, one of the things about being a man, Russ, learning how to keep your mouth shut. And that's a sign of a man. Do you want to be a man? He said, I want to be a man. I said, okay. Now, I'm going to test you today. I want you to sit in this chair and stay there, Russ. I'm going to pretend that I'm outside. You won't see me, but I'll be looking through every window to see if you move except to go to the bathroom. Can you do that, Russ? He said, I can do it. I said, because you want to be a man? He said, because I want to be a man. I said, you can make it, Russ. I said, you look like a strong little boy. He said, I hope so. I said, and if Mom says to you, did I leave the house? What do you say? He said, I said, Russ, you're taking too long. He said, I tell her that you didn't go anywhere. I said, Russ, we'll give it a try. So I went out and I played. And I knew what time when my mother was coming back. 10 minutes before she was supposed to get back, I came back and Russ was still in the chair. I said, you moved twice. He said, how'd you know? I said, I saw you. He said, well, I just went to the bathroom, that's all. I said, I know it. He said, am I a man? I said, you're a man. My mother came home. My mother hit me. And Russ said, I didn't say anything. I said, shh. She said, you went out. I said, she said, you went out. She said, and you played ball. And I told you to stay here and watch Russell. Russ started crying. He said to my mother, I'm not a man. My mother said, what are you talking about? He said, I'm not a man. I didn't tell you anything. I'm not a man. My mother said, what are you talking about? I said, just something we were talking about. She said, wait till your father comes home. Well, that was an old thing for me, so I didn't care anymore. I just soon die right there in the chair. She said, a little bird told me. And I tried to figure out how a bird... And the next day I went out and I looked up and sure enough, they were up there, flying around. I became paranoid. Anytime I see a bird, even today, I get a chill. Strange things. But it's the things that parents lay on you. Little things like that. A little bird told me. And poor Russ, he never became a man. Graduated from elementary school. I picked a junior high school, Fitzsimons, 26 in college. Now you'll all say, well, he put a plant out there. 26 in Cumberland, and I had to ride the trolley car from 10th and Parish, 23 trolley, to Susquehanna Avenue, Susquehanna on up to 26th Street, walk about 2 blocks to Fitzsimons. 7th grade, had a lot of fun, except there's a thing called homework. And I don't know what these people thought they were doing. Homework. If you work all day, why would you want to work when you come home? Just people want to annoy you. 8th grade became my downfall, I guess. I walked into class, geometry. Now, up to that point, I thought I had studied all the math that there had, you know, got it. I can add, subtract, divide, and do fractions, and I'm wonderful on if a man. If you say to me, if a man, I'm perfect. All right, go ahead. Where did he go? What did he do? How much did he weigh? But now they got a thing called geometry. I didn't know what it was, but it was a form of math. But I think I got it covered. She sat down, and in walked about 5'7", had a profile like Dick Tracy. 5'7", wore the same sport coat all his life. His name is Benjamin Sapolsky. Benjamin Sapolsky was a Russian Jew, geometry, and had come, as far as I'm concerned, all the way from Russia to bother me. Benjamin Sapolsky loved geometry. You could tell it in his spirit, the way he turned to the board and how excited he was to point to a and talk for 2 hours about the degree of a triangle and the sides. He loved the size of it. He loved the base. And he passed out books on this triangle and the rectangle and the hypothesis. And you had to memorize things. Saying to myself, why? I kept waiting for Mr. Sapolsky to tell me why, but he was just so enthralled with the angle and the degree of it, and the radius and the diameter. Oh, it just came out, and he did everything except cry. And then he gave out homework. Do the following problems at home. So why can't we do them here? Home is to play. Because I'm like Brazil. La 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 la. So I never took the book. Because home is to play. And home is home. And I'm not taking this stuff home. On top of that, I'm getting tired. I'm trying to figure out when we are no longer going to have it. Because it's stupid. They keep saying English. English. I already speak English. And so does everybody. What are we studying it for? And on top of that, they grade you on it. You got a D in English. So well, what does that mean? The guy on the trolley car didn't understand me? They were making up things. Subjective clause of the subjunction and cross with apostrophe and put your commas. I'm not writing anybody. I want to reach in my car. Not anybody. People I know live right over there. I need to write them. I'll buy a car. Happy birthday. And sign my name. So what is all this English stuff? I read Treasure Island because I had to. I read all of that. And I know Mark Twain. I read all that. I can read and I can write, and the newspapers are not that difficult. I'm not old enough to, so I go right past all that. So there was two things that was just stupid. Old people with nothing to do than bother young people and stop them from playing. La 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 la. And so I never turned in the homework. And Mr. Sapolsky called me up, rang, and he said, "You're not turning in your homework." I said, "Well, I told you why." He said, "Yeah, but I don't understand how many relatives you have who are going to die." He said, "Why are all these people dying? Supposed to turn in your homework." I said, "Well, I don't know, Mr. Sapolsky. You know, I was jealous of T. Parham. T. Parham had a dog. His dog ate his homework. I didn't have a dog. Not allowed to have dogs in the project. So I just had relatives who died. And to be perfectly frank, a couple of them died 3 times. Because I had forgotten who died, you know. And he didn't know the fact that the person got well, and we thought he was dead, but... Polsky gave an exam one day. 4 problems. 55 minutes. I finished 1. Used up 12 pieces of paper. I just and I work. 12 pieces of paper, and I handed the 12 pieces in. About 4 days later, Mr. Sapolsky handed correct written on the front page, and underneath it said, "See me after class." The bell rang, and I your paper here. Papers. Your book. First problem. He said, "You know, but you got the answer correct." He said, "And I followed your philosophy." He said, "You." I said, "Thank you." He said, "For the year 400 AD. He said, "You know, past all this now. They don't do this anymore." He said, "And you could use up just this much of one piece of paper for a book." He said, 12 pieces of paper to get the answer correct. I followed this. Now, if you guys what so he and I said, "Mr. Sapolsky," so he said, you see me after school." I said, "Mr. Sapolsky, live all the way nighttime when I get, he said, you don't want, I said, Polsky, I just want to play. I just want to play. Anything? No. Yeah, but that's hard. And so I graduated in the 8th grade. I got a D degree. I don't know how. An 8B, the second. 2. These people are relentless, man. And I got again. And he looked at me and he was passing out the books and he said, he didn't even give me a book. He said, you don't need one. This is a high school in Philadelphia, Central High School. Did you go to Central? Huh? Okay. Central. Yes, it was. It wasn't. No, I don't. It's not that I don't believe people. It's a Central was an all-boys. It was founded in 1836, something like that. It was a school, public school for what they said were very bright boys. And I wanted, because I was going to get a fine education, because of the fact that they have these book covers, you know, and they say Central School on when you ride the subway, old people say, you're very bright, aren't you? So I took the test and I was accepted. Father started kissing me and everything, man. I still had to watch and Bob. I went to Central and went to I'll be glad when I get through these geometry things, man. There's too many geometries. And the trigonometry professor was Dr. Stroop, a retired professor of math from MIT, who, while he retired, came to teach. Dr. Stroop was 6'4". He had a fine voice. He loved trigonometry. He got sick, and they called off the class. Dr. Stroop is sick. Come back tomorrow. She's going to get a substitute teacher. Dr. Stroop is still sick. Now, substitute teachers are best. I couldn't wait for that. Wonderful. In walked Benjamin Sapolsky. This man was from Russia, bothered me. And he walked in, and I guess the feeling was mutual because he saw me. So he made a speech about trigonometry and how he was going to be teaching. Dr. Stroop would get. And the cylinder, oh my God. He been crazier about a cylinder than he did with the triangle. was to us and saying, Central, it just seems that these people, these kids came from outer space because they were and they were loving lives and the cars and the predators, and I even my 12 pages, and he said, well, you got it. Don't you. Well, Central was tough. You had to study, but I didn't. I would come home, play. La, 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 la. And a lot of relatives died, but the teachers at Central were very sick, but they wanted to work even after the funeral and the burial. They still wanted it, and they gave me time. And then I talked to the schools, colleges, and I told her I wanted to leave. She said, no, stay, which was very strange to me because she was punishing me. So I transferred to Germantown High School, and I stayed in the 10th grade for another 3 years. Actually, my father encouraged me to quit, so I quit. I'm finally at the point of freedom. I am having a ball now. I am out, I got a job, and I was in the shipping room lifting boxes, putting them on a truck. And I was making like $1 something an hour, and this was the best. I got a check, gave some money to my mother, kept it for myself, and then I went out. I don't know where I went, I just went out, you know. And, but there was nobody in the neighborhood, just old people or young people. And I couldn't pick one of them. And I got tired. So I went down and I joined the Navy. And the recruiter said to me, well, you've joined to see the world. I said, I'm just trying to get off my block. Now, there's a thing in the Navy called watch. This is where you stand guard and protect something. Now, we're on a naval base, which is anyway, with real sailors, with guns, and we even have a ship in the middle of the on cement. I don't know, but I guess it's ready to go. And they're training us. So they have a list in your barracks that says, watch. And if your name is there, you look opposite, says time, and then they put Navy time, you know, 02:30. If there's a 0 in front of the number, that means early in the morning. That means after midnight, see? Then you get past 12 noon, then they don't stop at 12, you know, and go to 1. They go 13, 14, 15, all the way around. So this one day I saw my name, William Henry Cosby Jr., and the serial number, and it said 02:30 to 04:30. It's a 2-hour watch. And I'm on, and I just talked to my friends, I guess until 11. And I went to sleep, and I remember, I don't even think I had fallen. It didn't feel like I had fallen asleep. It just felt like I was asleep. You know, like I was asleep, but I don't remember falling asleep in terms of enjoying. Because the light went on in my face. That's the way it felt. And I opened my eyes, and there it was, a light with a hand holding a flashlight. And the voice behind the light said, "Are you Cosby?" And for a second I thought, tell him no. And then I realized this is the Navy. They know who I am. He said, "Are you paralyzed?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Then get up." So I did like this. He said, "All the way." And I was up, and he ran my whole day. So I got dressed. Now it's dark, 2:30. takes me out to a place, gives me a wooden rifle with a bolt action, old bolt action. This is as close as you can get to a blunderbuss. No bullets. And this greenish belt to put on, which means I'm on watch. I have no bullets, a belt, and a white hat to fight off the enemy if they come. He takes me out to a place which is the place where we hang our clothes to dry. It's the clothesline yard. There are no clothes on the line. There's nothing on the line. He says, watch this. I thought it was some kind of show was going to happen. I said, okay, what? He said, look, stand at attention. So, you know, and I did a thing and came, present, home, you know, like that. And I said, well, where's the show? He said, there's no show. Watch this. So I'm not going to do Abbott and Costello, you know. So I just stood there. He said, now you'll walk from here and you'll come back to here and keep an eye on it. I said, on what? He said, the clothesline. I said, it's made out of wire. Who's going to steal it? And why aren't the people who are watching the base doing their job? I could be sleeping. He said, you'll do what you're told, sailor. So I stood out there, and I got sleepy, and I got mad because I'm out there. There's nothing to watch, and it's stupid. And if somebody does come, I said, halt, who goes there? I don't have any bullets. Please don't hurt me. Or hold it like a baseball. Who's around there? And I got a white hat on. This is stupid. And so the man came back, and I was crying, and he got in my face. I'm not your mother, and you'll have it, and you'll do it, and you've just been, and I wanted to punch him, but I knew he'd put me in the brig, and he said, yeah, you can take it. So I got off watch, man. I came back. The lights are still out. You're not allowed to turn any lights on. I went in the shower, and I wrote my mother. And I told her what they did to me. And I didn't care about commas or semicolons. My mother knew what I was saying. And my mother sent a letter to the base commander and thanked him for what they were doing. And told him to do it some more. I spent 3 years, 11 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days disliking it. But in the meantime, I took the GED exam, and I decided that I was going to go to college. Somehow, something hit me and said I shouldn't be here, and this was my own fault. I made this on my own. So the day I got out, I had planned to take all my Navy stuff into the bay, or where I was in Norfolk, Virginia. And I did not go home right away. I went by Temple University book. What book do you have to read when you're a freshman? And I bought every one of them, even the School of Dentistry. And I was fired up. Freshman year, nothing got past me. I studied everything. End of my freshman year, I was out on the track. I weighed 170 pounds in wonderful physical shape. 75 degrees, about 40% humidity, just running up and down the middle of the track. Doing well in all my exams, turning in homework. I mean, and adding extra pages because I felt the professor should know that. And a friend of mine came running over to me, and he said, "Hey, Cos, you made..." Oh, God, no. And he said, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "I didn't do anything wrong, man. I'm not watching any lines. I'm not doing nothing." He said, "No, that means that you're above 3.0. I said, "Yeah. And tell the dean to call me." Junior year is the year in, you know, where you begin your student teaching, because I'm in teachers college. I've chosen teachers college because there are millions of me's out there, and I'm going to catch every one of them. I'm going to stop them and tell them my story, and they're going to learn and know why I ought to do it. And so I was a physical education teacher. My junior year, going to teach physical education. And I had the uniform, black pants with the creases in them, black leather sneakers, way before any leather sneakers. Teachers wore the black leather sneakers. White shirt and a black bow tie, long sleeve. Looked like a referee for a boxing match. And Scotty Moyer and I were so proud. We got a junior high school. That's where you catch them. See, when puberty hits, you know, and they catch them when they're hornets. Catch them. So he said, "We're in the office of the principal, and they're handing out so-and-so. You have this, and Scotty, you have physical education report to room, so forth and so on." He said, "And Bill Cosby, William Cosby," that was before I was Bill, "William Cosby, have geometry." So I don't understand. I have a tie and this white shirt, and I am physical education. He said, "No, we looked at your transcript. You are way, so forth and so on, and the fab." I said, "Right. And go to room 30 something. So that's your supervisor." Now, how do you know? I walked in, I opened the door, and he was sitting like this, and I knew from his sport coat and I had the chip in my hand. And I said, "Mr. Sapolsky?" He said, "Yes." And he turned around and he looked at me. And then he recognized who I was. And his chair started to spin around about 100 miles an hour. Just kept going. And he turned into butter. And he stood up and he said, "You?" And I said, "Yes, Mr. Sapolsky." I said, "Mr. Sapolsky, I'm a physical education teacher. I'm going to graduate from Temple University Teachers College in teaching education. I don't know why they gave me this geometry. He said, exactly. You don't know anything about geometry? I said, exactly, Mr. Cosby. Let's do something about this. Well, my goodness, for the first time, Mr. Sapolsky and I were bonding. We were in that hall, man. He was warm, man. You could feel the heat. And I was just saying, go get her, Mrs. Sapolsky, because they don't know. And Mrs. Sapolsky went up to the desk and the desk about, you know, right? And the principal came out and he called him by his first name and said, John, this boy you've given to me. And the principal said, yes, we have, Ben. He said, and I want to tell you something. This boy, and he did like this, and I know that he doesn't know anything about geometry, but he didn't say it. And I think the reason he didn't say it is because he didn't have to say, no, because I taught him. And he said, it's going to be the best geometry teacher. He said, follow me. And I said, but Mr. Sapolsky, he said, you shut up. You'll never get out of Temple alive. I was born in 1937, the child of William and Anna Cosby, who were brought up in Virginia, which is considered the South and the land of oink. Mother and father ate oink, and they loved oink grease. Lard is what they ate. And they sopped grease with a biscuit. And they loved butter. And they sopped and put and drank and ate grease. Sausage, bacon, ham, the oink. They loved it. Fat back, salt pork, oink. And they ate it. And I was born with lard all on my head, and in the crack of my arm and the back of my leg. And I tried to explain to my wife that I am addicted to grease. Praise the Lord. But no, she wants to know. Yeah. What did you eat today? What did you eat yesterday? I love cake. I love pie. I love potato chip. I love salt. I do not want yogurt, plain yogurt. It's healthy. Why don't you like it? Because it tastes like death. And people like that, they're relentless, coming with nothing. You know, they go to what's called the health food store, which is really food harassment. Come with a bag of potato chips, sun roasted, unsalted. Here, eat these. I said, I'm not interested in just making. I can do that with those little pop. I can do that all day. I want to eat. I love sugar. The real deal. I love real sugar. White. No brown sugar. Drop in the. I love cake with real sugar. Ooh, because I'm married and I have this wife who is controlling me, I have to, like a common hide ice cream under the sofa, looking like a child. I didn't have any. You have to act like a child. A grown woman says, "Let me smell your breath." Vanilla, aha. Every night I eat a small pint of ice cream. A small pint. As a I have. I'm doing you a favor, I said to her. Just eat a small pint. And I know this. But it's supposed to. If you eat what I eat, it's supposed to be. The doctor started. Oh my. Ice cream. You're gonna die. Yes. Charge of me. See, those of you not married long don't understand that after they read papers, and then they leave articles, and you know, which 3 months from now will flip. Good, have it. 3, and it will cure this. Now you got to go back on it. But she won't show you that note. So I want to have my blood checked and everything. And 741. And by the way, it doesn't bother me that it is. I mean, every once in a while, my left arm will go numb. But it do like this. It'll go away. And I'm not worried about it because, look, to be perfectly blunt, you sit on the toilet long enough, your right leg will go bad. So what? Is that cholesterol or what? So the doctor called me. I was in Los Angeles, on my way to Las Vegas for 2 nights and then fly back east home. And the doctor called and he said, look, I'd like you to have your blood drawn and checked again. I said, why? He said, well, there's something, I don't know what it is. Your hemoglobin is low. He said, now it may be just the machine or whatever, but your hemoglobin is low. So I said, well, what is hemoglobin? He said, well, that's the amount of blood you have in your body. So I said, well, what is it? He said, well, I'm reading 10.2. So I said, well, what should it be? He said, 15, 14. He said, but don't worry. I said, don't worry. 1/3 of my blood is gone, and you don't worry. What kind of doctor are you, man? He said, the same one that said, don't worry on your 741 cholesterol. So I said, well, you better wake up and get serious now. So I fly into Las Vegas, and I'm saying, God, you know. Now, at this point, in reality, for all of us just about, there's a point of denial. And it's silly, one's behavior. For instance, it's similar to you're driving and you get sleepy. All of a sudden you start to talk yourself into the fact that you could take a little nap and wake up before you hit something. I mean, many of us have been in that. That's when you are dangerous to yourself, man. You're driving, you're going, yeah, okay, now the road is straight. All right, here we go. And I'll time it. Oh, there it is. See that? I know time. You know, up, you know, lights flashing. How the hell you got there with the door in your head? Well, there's also something about you. You say, okay, man, I got a thing right here, but that's all. It feels like it's a lump, but that's okay. Why don't you go see a doctor? No, no, it's all right. It'll go away. You know, you don't want to go because the doctor may say, oh, you've got it. That means that you have it. But if you don't go, it means you don't have it. And it's better to just not have it. You know, he said, women, very simple, go have your breast checked. Oh, no, thank you. Why may I have it? And if they don't check, then I don't have it. So what if you wait till it's too late? Well, then I have it. And then I'll say, well, you know, no. And if you don't want to have it, then don't go see anybody. So I'm laying up there. I don't know why I'm losing all this blood. I'm not going to go have a blood check, man. And I'm not telling any doctor anything. Tell them something. Say, and then you might have it. So I'm not telling them anything. But anyway, I did the 2 shows, and I was feeling dizzy. And I remembered that I was a little dizzy, but I thought it was maybe. So around 2:30 in the morning, there's a place, Las Vegas Medical Center. From the Hilton Hotel, I jog over to the Las Vegas Medical Center. It's 4:30 in the morning, and there's just a skeleton crew, but somebody who can look after you and take care of you. I said, and they of course know me, and I said, I'd like to have some blood drawn. So the lady said, for what? I said, well, my doctor wants to check my hemoglobin. So this guy came out who was a doctor, I guess. You know, 3:30. What? There's an auto. So he said, okay, we'll draw the blood. I said, now look, you know, it's low. Why am I drawing blood to see if I'm low? Don't you guys have another test to see if there's blood? He said, hey, 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 hey. So anyway, he drew the blood and he had vials too, you know, who got on a burro to mine somewhere on the machine, stat. So I'm sitting there, and the guy says, what did he? I said, well, it was 10.2, and we're just talking about my blood. So he says, well, have you been bleeding from anywhere? I said, well, not that I've seen. So he said, have you had any stomach pain? So now, having any pain, which but then I started, if I had any this. So I said, no, I wasn't dizzy about nothing, and which I had, but I'm not telling him, because then he's going to say I have it. He said, have you looked at your stools? Of course not. Which is a lie.